Колеги, вітання. Дякую всім, хто прийшов.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you for coming. Thank you, those who watch us online. And the topic of the next press conference, from general plan to a guide plan, results of the first CANactions Urbanistic School studio, Viktor Zotov, Enterprise Fund, Vladyslav Tyminskyi, director of CANactions School, and also the graduates, Oleksandr Shevchenko and Iryna Berestetska, graduates of CANactions School. You are given the floor.
I would like to tell you a few words about the quality of life in cities and in Ukraine in general. Maybe I am the only person who will be talking about the feelings which I have now. My feelings are as follows. We went through Mariinsky Park and as it was 2 years ago, I saw many Berkut Special Forces troops. I hope that the situation would change, but it has not changed so far. In our opinion, the quality of life in the cities, we have some disbalance of our attention to very superficial, very formal things such as decorations, comparing to an individual. If a person is sick, such person takes makeup and use it to decorate herself. I hope that in the wide understanding, a more realistic understanding will be formed what happened, the quality of life in our country, and instead of decoration we will understand the values, such values as security and safety, and nice attitude to anyone. I am talking about very simple things, but I believe they are very important, and I also believe that thanks to our school, CANactions will help to improve within next months, next years, the perception of Ukrainians that saving the environment, the nature, is much more important than putting much foodstuff, because our consumption is far higher than our needs are. So mental manipulations spoil our life, quality of life in the city. So let's come back. I would like to just set you to return to the realistic values and to shift the accents to the most important things. Good afternoon. I would like to tell you that the Western NIS Foundation supports the projects which create the changes which can be felt today, and CANactions School for Urban Studies is such a project. This school is located in Kiev, but it also has effect on other regions of Ukraine. We have 4 studios. We have young people from Kharkiv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Kiev. We cover many regions of Ukraine indeed, and an important aspect of this school is that the school is not theoretical. After the studies are completed by the students, the graduates will implement their small practical projects. When we talk to connectors, they have already the ideas how to change a local environment in districts. Some people would like to have to help disabled persons or to young mothers. This project includes social and environmental components. We are very glad that in the framework of this school we start communicated with local authorities and hope it will provide good results, because partnership between local authorities, civil society and businesses always bring fruitful results. We have very good examples already how urban studies can help to create nice environment in cities, so we can name them local environment cases, and I'm sure that practical results will be soon seen in practices, and I would like to give the floor to Vladyslav to tell in detail about the program. Yes, I would like to communicate you how the first studio has been established and what are the components of our training. Here are the principles, basic principles of the School for Urban Studies. These key principles include full-time interdisciplinary program. We invite experts from various disciplines and use interdisciplinary approach, starting with architecture and then with IT. All of them are joined by their interest in change in local environment. The other principle is learning by doing. We base our projects on practical tasks. We learn by doing. We learn in practices. Within one course, the period of training is rather short, and we should learn our students to produce results within a short time frame. The next principle is real cases. During the entire training, we focus on specific places or specific cities, such as in Ivano-Frankivsk, for example, and last but not the least, professionals from all over the world are engaged. A very wide spectrum of specialists, Ireland, Poland, Ukraine, Canada, and other countries. Specialists were involved, and also engagement in transformation of cities environment all over the world, and all the experts which we invite, they have experience of activities in post-Soviet countries, so they are aware of the context. This is the photo of our experts network. We work with them in our school as an educational platform. And now about the topics which we identified before starting up the first studio. We have 4 studios. The first studio is Urbanism US Restart. We studied the development from a city to a country in general. You can see here the title of the first studio, which on December 19th ended. It was dedicated to the topic with dynamical projects from general plan to guiding plans, strategic tools for contemporary city development. In the first studio, we addressed historical cities, and the second studio will be dedicated to tackling the future of Ukrainian modern cities. The first studio, you can see here the topics. We try within the CANactions schools to join 2 things, 2 components. This is training and focus on specific changes. This is a very complicated challenge. This principle pushed us to elaborate the program. We started with the distance course of studies. Within 3 weeks, our students were preparing long-read materials for mass media. We studied problems and prospects of various cities in Ukraine. The second block was an introductory course, how to develop the proposals for cities development. The next phase, it was a case study. The first case was in research in Ivano-Frankivsk. It was a 2-stage process. First, it was insider studies. We studied the city, being inside of it, but not studying it being in Kiev. This second was why it is important. I would like to get the floor to the students who are now the graduates of the first studio.
Good afternoon. I will be brief and let's go to the results of those 3.5 months that we used for developing this urban constitution structure. So you see this scheme on which people worked full-time. Every day they work to develop the structure. And this urban constitution is a vision that heads this process, and it includes all the principles on which we challenge without any compromise among ourselves during this event. So this is an open door city that creates an opportunity and life balance for everyone. So this is like utopia, but this is the base of the structure. We can divide 2 levels, strategic level, about what I'm going to speak, and tactical. And this work was done in 5 groups: ecology, culture, economy, infrastructure, and society. And we developed headliners for each group, guiding rules. And on the example of ecology, Ivano-Frankivsk is an energy self-sufficient city that responsibly integrates its natural resources into the daily lives of the citizens. So this is a key under which we developed all the actions of the groups. And going back to more practical level, there are strategic objectives that are the basis in the development of tactical reasons and decisions. And now I give the floor to my colleague Anne. She is going to tell you about strategic objectives. Thank you, Sasha. 2 levels. The first one theoretical and the other is practical. And this practice can be used by any resident of Ivano-Frankivsk. And our goals on the map of Ivano-Frankivsk and the example of ecology, if we look from Kiev, Ivano-Frankivsk looks ecologically well. So there are good natural conditions, mountains, rivers, but all this looks not like we saw it from Kiev. And there were many obstacles. We saw that there are many obstacles to these natural resources that we wanted to study. And in order to create the idea, of each of 5 groups, they created their own project. And this was a walking virus project that was created by Ecology Group. The task, the objective of this project to gather the residents to make people so that they could see the city from the different angle, and walking in the city, they could maybe somehow that they should create this infrastructure by themselves. And at the end, we made such a vision of the city. It is understandable to everyone. You can look at the picture and see Ivano-Frankivsk, Bystrica River, center of the city, and the suburbs. And here we can see that this town that we see, and this is a town for everyone. You can go to the river, then you can go to the center of the city, and then you can walk to the center, and this center is very interesting, and then you can go in the suburbs and well-developed infrastructure for everyone to enjoy. And for us, Ivano-Frankivsk is an open door town with opportunities and balanced life for everyone. I would like to stress that urbanistic constitution, about which we are speaking now, this is a first step in the development of the city. It was very important for us because the problem that we dealt in the framework of the first studio, how to step aside from the general plan and to provide new vision of the city. This is first step to other instruments that will help us to change the cities, not like declarations, but in a practical way. And what we are going to do next? I want to speak about the school has 2 studios. They all have their own topics, and there are programs for 3.5 months. These programs are concerned with the cities and their development, and Ivano-Frankivsk was the first city, and the next will be Kramatorsk. Why is it important? Because this is a post-industrial city, and many towns in the east, they were like mono cities concentrated around some production units, and we also accept applications for the third studio and second studio, and this is a world-level school, and all education and instruction is provided in English, and many world speakers come to our studio. Teddy Cruz was invited to the studio, who works on trans-border cooperation, and because of the war in Ukraine we have internal borders. That's why this will be our effort to overcome these internal borders. We have time for only one brief question. We have two, but they should be really brief. Sergei Kutnikov, Small Academy of Science. While developing these projects, do you connect toponymy or hydronymy not only to change landscape, but also some architecture and design decisions, and connected with the views of today, and how to change toponymy brands, for example, such as Trojeshchina, some innovations in the sphere. As I stated earlier, we pay a lot of attention to the work with this town and city. It is important. As my colleague said, from Kiev you can see one picture from Google, and in fact the picture is absolutely different. As it was stated, we focused on 5 areas. Ecology was present, and there we tried to understand landscape specifics and what is important, how to combine and to provide access to different areas. And we deal with many problems during these 3.5 months, and we try to develop comprehensive view of the problem. And we try to make study of these projects and then to combine them into a complex comprehensive vision of this. And we discussed the issues that you raised, and you can see it in February. We will publish a book. So my answer is yes, and this was one of the focus of our work. So there's no questions. So next briefing in 2 minutes. Thank you very much for presentation, and we wish you success in your study and a lot of very good students. Our next briefing